Meeting to order. All in attendance this evening. Additions to the agenda. There is a change. 8.1, Friends of the Gibbons Badlands are going to move to a head of finance. Any other changes or additions?
Through Mr. Mayor, we would like to have bylaw PLU 126 and bylaw PLU 226 moved also to the right after the Badlands presentation, so we can take care of a delegate that's joined us this evening.
That was PLU 126 and PL 226. Is that correct? Okay. Anything further? Could I get a motion, please? Councillor Curry?
Yes, I will motion the changes to the minutes. Or the agenda, sorry.
All those in favor? So carried unanimous. 6.1 regular council meeting minutes. Any arrows or omissions, Mr. Longstaff?
On page 6 of 7, under 16.0, resolution 26.255, it states Councillor Longstaff moved that council revert to open session at 11:27 p.m. It should be 11:27 a.m.
Thank you, Mr. Longstaff. Any other errors or omissions noted? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda, or sorry, the meeting minutes as amended.
All those in favor? So carried unanimous. All right. Friends of Gibbons Badlands, you guys are up.
Oh, you go ahead. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, that helps. Yeah, so good evening, everybody, and thank you for letting us present to council tonight. And it said we're the, I represent, my name is Kathleen Mpulubusi, and I am the president of the Edmonton Native Plant Society. And we have with other interested local residents, we have formed an informal group that we call Friends of the Gibbons Badlands Prairie. And so we want to, just to present on the importance of the Gibbons Badlands Prairie. The Native Plant Society has been involved for many years to try to help protect and preserve the area, because this very, very unique area that is in the Edmonton area, and we would like to continue to advocate and want better protection for the area, and to and also to do education, and to in some ways also promote the Badlands as well, to get people excited and encouraged about the Badlands area, because it is definitely it's very much a local gem that I think is sometimes not perhaps as appreciated as it should be. So with that, I'm going to invite Patsy Cotterill. She's also with the Edmonton Native Plant Society, and she has put together just a short slideshow just to show you a little bit more about why these Badland slopes are important. And I mean, I certainly hope that members of council have had opportunities to go and explore on the Badlands themselves. So.
Okay, so I sit alongside you, do I?
Yes, and then speak into this.
Right. That one, right.
So, and just speak to the mic.
Okay. Well, thanks again for fitting us in, and thanks also for moving us up and the meeting. Yeah, I do just want to show a few slides to show how or why we think it is so important to protect these slopes. As you can see, the green portion on the map is the 17.5 hectare stretch of escarpment that belongs to town of Gibbons. It's a rare local example of badlands geology, and it has many characteristics and plant communities that are typical of the great badlands of the Red Deer River further south. So it is, as Kathleen mentioned, a local gem. It's worthy of protection because it's important natural heritage. It's an aesthetic landscape that enhances the town's beauty, and it's an area of scientific and educational interest. And as Kathleen mentioned, both local residents and outsiders have formed a group to try and work with Gibbons to enhance its protection. Right? Okay, so these pictures just show some of the geological features, which include steep bentonitic or clay slopes, popcorn features in the middle there, such as you would see in the Red Deer River Valley, gullies and outcrops of ironstone and sand, and we've even found a few fossils of conifer cones, and possibly there have been some bigger finds as well. These slopes host a variety of plant communities, anything from the bare badlands themselves to lower down where there's more accumulation of organic matter and soil, these very interesting grasslands. There's a riparian habitat consisting of a white spruce and lots of shrubbery along the edge of the Sturgeon River. And there are ravines with trees and with the local shrubbery. And these different communities all add up to a very diverse flora. We've recorded over 200 species for that simple area that we showed you, the green area. So these plants are typical of badlands, the cactus, the fragile prickly pear cactus. I don't know of any similar population. There is one further north near Grand Prairie, but mostly these are much commoner in the south. On the left there is something called Gardner's saltbush, which has particular characteristics that adapt it to badlands. There is the two-grooved milk vetch, again, much more common farther south. It concentrates selenium, so it can smell bad. And the very lovely blue grama grass, also known as eyelash grass or even prairie wool. So those are all typical of badlands. And for the grasslands, I've just picked out a few examples. Prairie crocus. We had a prairie crocus field trip at the end of April this year. Three-flowered avens, a very beautiful grass called sandgrass, but in fact we have over 20 species of grasses, and all but 3 of those are native, so that is a phenomenal diversity. And we also have 2 populations of the rare Canada ricegrass. Now, some of us in the Edmonton Native Plant Society became aware of this. We were actually informed by the Cactus Club of Alberta that the cactus existed, so we visited the site in about 2011, 2012. And quite soon afterwards, we noticed that there was damage being done to the slopes by all-terrain vehicles. We made overtures to Gibbons Council about this, and in 2015, by 2015, the town had erected a 4-strand barbed wire fence and had put in some signage saying that this is a protected area. And those deep ruts that had been produced by the ATVs did begin to heal. The natives came back, and for a few years it all looked good. And then suddenly things started to go downhill again. This is, first of all, we noticed that the snowmobiles were coming in across the frozen Sturgeon River and creating what you can see there. I think the guy on the right actually is in the provincial park, but you can see he's on a snowmobile. And more recently, this spring, we were horrified to see that the damage was worse than it had ever been. And this may be attributed particularly to dirt bikes, I think. But you can see the deep ruts. They extend not only on the slopes, but down in the lower portions of the grassland. There's even been some cutting of trees to clear a trailway along the bottomlands. And somebody's even been creative and introduced a feature there, a jump feature or something. So suddenly we've got the same problem has surfaced. And really these slopes cannot withstand this kind of recreation. We understand the guys love it. They love slopes. They don't want flat land. But, you know, this is not a suitable place to recreate. So one solution we thought of, as Kathleen mentioned, was to form a group. So this consists of local residents and a few of us outsiders who are particularly interested in natural history. And we thought that this group could assist the town, work cooperatively with the town to look at some effective protection. And what this Friends could do, for example, would be to educate local people, particularly students. And we know already that there's several groups and several schools that are interested in visiting the site. We could possibly go after grants to help with that, some of the budgets for fencing and signage, which is what we would like to see as a first line of protection, along with that education. We could possibly do monitoring and research to see how effective, our management is. And we could possibly build conservation partnerships with some of these groups that I mentioned already. So we are looking to cooperate with Gibbons Town. We know that the town is facing a lot of issues, but we really feel that this beautiful site should not be allowed to deteriorate further, that some action must be taken. So thanks again for hearing us. And I believe we're willing to answer any questions.
Excellent, thank you.
Right.
One question for me: the fencing that was put up and that was damaged, has it been repaired to your knowledge as of yet?
Yes, it has actually. We had one of our local residents, Jen Brennan and her husband, and the Edmonton Native Plant Society supplied the funding to make the necessary repairs. I mean, so it was to fix the. There were several where the fence breaches where the fence had been cut by users and gain access. So it's thanks to the good efforts of Jen and her husband that they were able to get everything fixed. So we still when we come out or people come out, like, want to keep monitoring the fence to see to keep track of possible breaches. But ideally we would like to see better fencing for which is one of the things we'd like to pursue, like in terms of grants and that. I know that Jen has been trying to do some trying to get some quotations from different fencing and looking at different fencing options, and then certainly with the town's blessing, then we would look at trying to look for different grant funding and different things so that we can get the work done as well.
Excellent, thanks. Mr. Duhamel.
Through Mr. Mayor, I want to maybe state that this is quite a beautiful area. I got to tour the area with one of your representatives a few weeks ago with two members of Public Works. We toured the area, looked at the damage that was being created by some of the motorbikes, and looked at the fencing. And we made a commitment to the group that we would look at our operations and see what we could do to help with the fencing, and then possibly look at a long-term plan for repairing some of this fence and looking at grants as well. I will say I learned a lot about all the different types of grasses and all the different types of cactus and all the things. And I will say, don't wear a black suit, which I was wearing because I got yellow, purple, and white fluff from all the grasses on my suit as I was touring the area. But I will say it was quite a beautiful area. I think it's a real gem for Gibbons. I think it's a big part of our character as a town. And again, we will be developing a plan probably in next year's capital budget to come forward to help support this, and we are looking for grants presently.
Excellent, thank you.
Um,
Any, Councilor Curry?
Forgive my ignorance here, but what is there a history of fines being handed out for, people being caught with their ATVs on the area? Or is there a difference between, what's the fine there?
I personally am not. Sorry, I'm not aware of that. Maybe somebody else from administration can answer. Originally, we were told that enforcement was difficult because you relied on Sturgeon County and so on. But the fencing did seem to sort of obviate that problem to a certain extent. I don't know. I think I think you need a bylaw statement, and then you can accost people and say, you should not be here. But I think education too is a good part of it.
Mr. Duhamel?
Through Mr. Mayor through to Councillor Curry, one of the things that we talked about on the tour was number one was improved signage, and we made a commitment to also look at our bylaws. We've actually started to look at that. As for bylaw enforcement, there hasn't been a lot of bylaw enforcement to date. Again, it hasn't been deemed a council priority. And again, as a new administration, we weren't aware of the situation until we went on the tour. One of the key things that they told us that they felt was important was better signage. And they said that one of the things that was interesting is that self-policing and letting the youth know about the importance of the Badlands and education is probably one of the biggest deterrents to doing this, and possibly communicating what areas could be used as alternatives for the type of dirt biking and the type of ATV activity that they would like. And so we committed to doing that work, and we are in progress of working with the group to look at those things. And so we've done some mapping of areas that would be good alternatives and are planning on some communication. But again, it's one of those things where all these things take time, but we are committed to doing the work and working with the group on these things. The first thing that we're looking at right now is improved signage.
Okay, thank you. And, Councilor Morrison?
So your Friends of Gibbons Badlands Prairies is a not-for-profit registered not-for-profit group now or not? Not yet,
haven't got
but
that
that's
far.
your intent.
Yes.
yes.
Okay, super. It's way easier to get grants when you are. I mean, and second to that, when you actually become a not-for-profit, are you looking to seek someone from council becoming part of your committee so that you have a little bit more of a voice? Mr. Duhamel didn't like my statement.
I don't know if I can speak for our group, but I would say that that could be something perhaps like that we could definitely entertain once we get ourselves a little more formally organized.
I would just say that incorporating as a society is quite a big step. We do so. The Edmonton Native Plant Society is a non-profit, and also we have affiliations with the Alberta Native Plant Council, which also so that might be sufficient, possibly, to go after immediate grants.
Excellent, thanks.
Sorry, Council, can I give just a legislative perspective on that? Council attending and becoming part of that. That then becomes a council committee. Council committee then requires a bylaw. So just something to keep in mind, right, with this group. If that's something that council wishes to go down, then we can certainly investigate that, but just something to keep in mind.
Any further questions? Excellent, ladies. Thank you so much for your presentation, and hopefully some of the eyes watching picked up, or the parents of some of the kids with the motorcycles or the ATVs and stuff out there. Just say, hey, if you go out there, stay off those endangered areas. So
I live directly across from the Badlands and the side, and I watched them. And I've watched the destruction that's happened in the last, just really in the last 7 years has been crazy. So I applaud your efforts.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'd just quickly say that if anyone is interested in going on a guided hike of the Gibbons Badlands Prairie, we're going to be planning a couple of hikes in the area in July. The first one will be July 9th. So that'll be Thursday evening from 6 to 8. And then we'll also be doing a second hike on Saturday, July 11th from, I think, 10 to 12. We're timing these hikes specifically because this is generally the first couple of weeks of July are when the cactus bloom. So that's what we want to try to catch, because I know it's very exciting to see them bloom, and they're, it's such a signature flower, but there's so much more there as well. So we certainly would invite council members or anyone to come and join us on the hikes. We'll have posters and things up right away.
Amazing. Thank you.
excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? Councillor Longstaff?
I move that we accept the Friends of the Gibbons Badlands Prairie presentation as information at this time.
All those in favor? So carried, unanimous.
Thank you.
11.3 bylaw PLU 1-26.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a bylaw for the Riverview Area Structure Plan, second and third reading. First reading was given April 28th. A public hearing was held May 13th here in council chambers. We've received no feedback from the public hearing at this point, so we'd like to move forward with second and third reading.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions on the first reading? One of the questions, I guess, that I had was mentioned through the presentation of a emergency exit over the CN tracks. Have you received any information? I looked in the package that we were provided, and there was nothing in there mentioning that aspect. I know there was a discussion that indicating that we're looking at putting one in, but I haven't seen any amendments to it, though.
I have not received any further information on that yet.
Do you recall
again-
that? Do you recall that conversation?
Well, I know that there had been emergency access in the Emerald Ridge Area Structure Plan,
Right.
but again, that was quite a bit larger
Okay.
and higher density development. For this development, I have not heard of any proposed emergency access because it is a very limited development. There's not a significant
Okay.
number of houses going in.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Barak.
I know one of the other things that had been brought up was a secondary access, not only an emergency access, but an actual secondary access. With plans on that, do we have any?
We have no plans at this time. part of the problem becomes it's bordered on one side by the railroad, bordered on the other side by the Sturgeon River. So you'd have to go down quite a long way across private property. So Landrix will own the developer owns the land to a certain point, but they would have to cross into somebody else's land to access a road allowance. And that is somebody else's land. So at this point, there is no secondary access proposed.
Any further questions? Can I get a motion, please? Councillor Morrison.
I move that council give second reading to bylaw PLU 10-26, the Riverview Area Structure Plan.
Any further questions before we put it to vote? All those in favor? Opposed? The count is 4-4, 3 against. Yes. Okay, move on to the third reading. Again, opportunity for any more comments or questions. Seeing none, could I get a motion, please? Council Morrison.
I move that council give third reading to bylaw PLU 01-26, the Riverview Area Structure Plan.
Any further questions before we put it to vote? All those in favor? Opposed? Counts 4-3. 4-4. All right, PL 2-26.
This is a land use bylaw amendment for Schedule A, the land use district map. The first reading was given April 28th of 2026, with a public hearing being held on May 13th at 6 p.m. in council chambers. We've received no comments on the proposed amendments for the land use districts. Going forward, we'd like to bring it forward for second and third reading, please.
Any comments or questions? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please? Councillor Longstaff.
I motion council give second reading to bylaw 02-26 to amend the land use bylaw PUL 806 Schedule A.
Any further questions? Comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? 4-3, 4. Motion's carried. Moving on to third reading. Again, I'll ask for comments or questions. Seeing none, can I get a motion, please? Councillor Simonowitz.
I move that council give third reading to bylaw 02-26 to amend land use bylaw PUL 8/06 as per Schedule A. Is that sufficient?
One last opportunity for comments or questions. Seeing none, vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried 4-3. All right. Finance 7.1.
would just like to put forward the information that I told Councillor Burak to get me a small slush, and he got me this monstrosity.
Yeah.
I don't have really good facial recognition, so I have to always double check.
Yeah, the Landrex guy, right?
Yeah. What are you doing there? We just had to make them look good.
7.1 accounts paid as of June 19th, 2026. Any comments or questions? Councillor Morrison.
Hopefully I've got this one right. It's Ruland Contracting for 13.5K. Did I? You know what? I'm really bad. Sorry. Yeah, I know. I knew you were gonna ask me that. I just made a note.
Last page, third from the bottom down. The Rulam is typically the sidewalk people, right?
Yeah. So so it's placement and compacting of asphalt. I just wanted to have a little bit of communication and understanding of what that was, so that we dispel some of the we won't be doing any maintenance because we're not fiscally able to.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So that one is for the tie-in to the washing facility at Memorial Park. So they had to come back and compact and then finish the tie-in to that new washing facility.
And that should now, because there's a number of Memorial Park payments there in the washrooms. That is now it. Are we officially done?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
If I may, through Mr. Mayor, that also is grant funded, and we're working with the Ag Society to get through all the grant reporting, which is extensive. But also to your other question, I want to state, I was just out the front this morning as the public works crew was doing cold mix pothole fills, and you're absolutely right. There is a complete misunderstanding about us maintaining and taking care of our assets. Basically, we have approved typical maintenance of our roads, our sidewalks, basically a basic infrastructure that was still in the operating budget, and we didn't change that. What we did change was extensive upgrades to roads and sidewalks that would typically go through the capital budget. So from a maintenance perspective, we are still maintaining roads and sidewalks in our basic infrastructure.
Councillor Morrison.
So there was another one, and it's about in the same space. You're probably going to find it quicker than me. Roadrunner equipment, and then it's really probably more my ask is on the narrative. It's like Roadrunner 8, and so help me out.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So that is for the replacement of tires on our Rescue 6 fire engine. I think it's Rescue 6. Rescue 6, yeah. So the 2 front tires and then the 4 rear tires.
Any further questions? Councillor Longstaff.
Yeah, I was just curious, what maintenance do we do on the railroad crossings?
That's our monthly maintenance that we have done for years. So it's just the railroad crossings. We have to pay them to maintain the railroad crossings.
Thank you.
So we didn't actually do the work.
We
pay
don't
them
do
to
the
it.
work. We pay them to do the work. We can't touch the railroad crossings, but it's a monthly payment.
Yep, Councillor St. Germain.
There's at the first page at the bottom, it says rental of West.
That is our rental of the back truck.
I thought it might be, sorry. I also just had a question about the visas, the amount of visas that are still being used. Is that being looked at, because I know that was one of the issues previously brought up, regarding like that it's basically an unplanned expense that Is that something that we're possibly looking at?
Through Mr. Mayor, when we came online, we did look at the visa statements or the visas for all the staff. As you know, we did have a significant change over staff, so we resubmitted visas. It is the right way and the easy way of procurement. But at the same time, all charges that go through the visas and all charges that go through by check are reviewed by me and have to be approved by me before they can be expended. And so that's a process that we created, and I'm going to be presenting a report on that this evening.
Perfect. And there'll be a procedural change, I assume, to go with that.
Procedural changes are already in place. So basically, it's just been basically a verbal discussion with staff that no charges over a certain amount, basically anywhere than really $500 to $1,000, because we want to lower it because we are in a situation of having to manage our basically expenses on a monthly basis. All charges have to be cleared by me before they can be spent.
Thank you. I was just worried about the unbudgeted expenses, but I appreciate the explanation.
I heard a no. Councillor Longstaff?
First page, about a third of the way down for the Edmonton Granite Memorials. It just says inscription added letter.
So niche inscriptions are on our columbarium. So a fellow had passed away, so they just added the end date of life to the niche inscription. So they invoice us, and then we turn around and invoice that individual.
Thank you.
Councillor Brack?
Sorry, just a note. With the RBC commercial visa, it has credit card it says for Mayor and D. Burek. I'm assuming that's me. I have no visa. I want to make that clear. I have no credit card with the town.
It was an expense that was paid.
Any further questions, comments? Can I get a motion, please? Councillor Saint Germain?
I'll make the motion to accept as amended, or as presented, sorry.
All those in favor? So carried unanimous. 7-2, 2026 management report.
Chris, is this going to be put up on the screen, please? Thank you. Yep. Just for council awareness, Ryan Mush is typically here to present this financial information, but it is his anniversary, so we figured we'd give him a night off. But I told him it meant that he had to buy his wife a big diamond, so we'll see if that happened. Good to go? Perfect. Through Mr. Mayor, this evening I have two reports I'm going to present, and the third one will be later on in the agenda. One of the key things that is incredibly important about developing a financial plan is implementing a financial plan. And we've been together now for 7 months, and one of the big things that was very important to you as council was accountability, making sure that we right-sized our resources to our ability to pay, and transparency. And so one of the things I'm actually very happy to report this evening is that one of the keys to me of proving that a financial plan is accurate, that it can be implemented, is basically when you start to report on the actuals and do a forecast to your end. And we've completed that now. We're nearly halfway through the year, and what I'm going to be presenting to you in the next number of slides is basically where we're at today after 5 months and where we're projecting our actuals to be by the end of the year. And I think that you're going to be very pleased with how the report and our plan is actually unfolding. We've reviewed the first 5 months of actuals, and we have forecasted to year end. And What we're finding is we are actually experiencing significant organizational and financial transformation, which means basically our plan is starting to bear fruit. From a service perspective, we've gotten very few complaints about our services. In fact, we started to get a lot of compliments about the improvement to basically our culture and the way that we're delivering our services, and it also is proving, as you're going to see here shortly, with very positive financial results as well. And as we committed to, we are going to commit to financial transparency, so we're going to be doing this every quarter, and again still presenting monthly financial information as well. Now it's very detailed, so I know that you can't read this, but this will be available online for our residents, and I've already sent you the detail behind this. But what you'll see from this presentation is that we are currently tracking approximately a $300,000 surplus. Now, that is considering that we budgeted for approximately a $3 million surplus that was to be transferred to reserve. So I can't state this enough. The proof is in the pudding. Again, with all the information that's been out, and some of it I think has been somewhat misleading for our public. We approved an 8.28% tax dollar increase. We approved a 3% utility rate increase, and we committed to managing operations in a very strict manner over this year to get us back on track financially. What this proves and shows right now, after 5 months, we're running a $300,000 operating surplus, and I will say for the past 5 years we have been running operating deficits in basically approximately between $1.5 and $2 million. So to have a switch turnaround where we're running a surplus at this time and forecasting a $300,000 to $500,000 surplus is approximately a $2 to $2.5 million change from what we were previously operating at. So again, a significant change. Again, as I always believe strongly, and again, I've been doing this for 30 years with many municipalities, and I've never worked in a municipality that's run a deficit. The proof is in the actuals. And again, so a plan is nothing more than a plan, but the proof is basically in how you operate, and we're proving that now. We're operating, our operating revenues are tracking near budget. Expenditures are well below our budget due to cost controls and again, constant management of what's going on out in the field. We have a number of controls that we have put in place to ensure that we will run a surplus by year end. I will be coming to council in the third quarter to release funding if we are in good shape. But again, I've put controls on certain funding or certain expenditures to make sure that we are not in any way, shape, or form in any type of situation where we could run a deficit. Again, that surplus operating is about $300,000 to $500,000, and that is before our $1 million transferred reserve, which we're forecasted to be able to put into reserve by year end, and again doesn't include the local improvements that we are pursuing from development. Again, so this has improved our financial position compared to prior years significantly. Again, we are now forecasting our reserve transfers at about 1.5 to 3.2 million. Again, nearly halfway through the year, those forecasts are proving to be accurate again, but they do, I have to say, it require significant control and effort by administration to ensure that we could control costs. So it's the staff know and are working very well with our new procedures in relationship to cost control. And again, we are forecasted to meet our targets from a financial perspective. We are rebuilding financial capacity. Again, this is going to support infrastructure needs. I'm going to be presenting a report later today that will show that. And again, the work that's being done is going to reduce our long-term financial risk. I do have to state this though before we move on, is that this is just the beginning and we have a long ways to go. There's no doubt about that. But to have made this type of financial turnaround in a short amount of time, I think is a real success for the council and for the residents of this municipality and their acceptance of the changes that we made, because again, services and service delivery has been a bit challenging this year. There's no doubt about that. From a debt management perspective, again, we are and have made all approved debt payments. We are again continuing to pay our principal on our 3-year financing. Now, again, we did refinance a number of debentures from a principal perspective, but I want to overcome a bit of misinformation that's out there. Refinancing was simply to provide us a runway for 3 years so that we could build financial capacity, so that in 3 years we would be in a good position to be able to pay down that debt. And later on in today's presentation, I'm going to show you what that plan looks like. Not paying the principal payments is not meaning that we're not preparing to pay down our debt. In fact, it's the opposite. It's allowing us to put money in reserve to create capacity from a financial perspective on both our utility, our tax, and our local improvement perspective, so that when the 3 years unfolds, we are going to be in a strong position to pay down debt significantly. I'm going to show that in a few moments. Again, debt reduction strategy is definitely on track with what we're doing today. From a strategic perspective, again, our financial sustainability initiatives are underway. We've reduced our expenses significantly. We've put in significant cost control. We've improved our reporting and our transparency to the public. And again, the staff, I have to give them a lot of credit, have really bought into this new way of conducting business. Where before we were always in a situation of kind of the unknown in terms of where we were financially. And at the end of the year, for the past 4 or 5 years, basically operating debt was taken out to cover off the deficits that we were running from an operating perspective. We're no longer in that position. We're currently running operating surpluses and conducting our business in a very responsible manner. Operating efficiencies have been implemented. We have had changes to our services, no doubt, but again, a little bit of misinformation out in the public that I would like to clarify this evening is we made major changes to the way that we deploy our staff to support basically essential services. So we closed down the rink, for example, for 3 months, but we found that the rink was in the summer months basically allocated to mostly City of Edmonton teams. And so it didn't really affect Gibbons residents all that much. The staff from the recreation complex were put into public works, and they're now working on the type of work that was typically done by summer students. And so significant savings by redeploying staff. And so organizational realignment is working, and our services on the most part are still being delivered in a very effective manner. Long-term planning frameworks have been established. So again, as I stated before, this is not a short-term fix, it is a long-term fix. And so to be quite frank, this isn't a 1-year fix. This is going to take us years to fix, but again, we're well on our way according to, again, the actuals that we're providing you with this evening. And so again, we did maintain our services. We developed these graphics over the past couple of weeks. I want to make sure that there's some clarity here. Every information that we have put out is backed up by facts. And so again, I know this is very detailed and hard to read for our public. This is going to be again uploaded for the public viewing, but this shows, if you look at the third column, that we are currently experiencing a $300,000 surplus, while also providing all of the services, the priority services that council deemed as important when we began this journey together. And so we're delivering services, and we are significantly in a better financial position than we've been in years. Again, it's just a start, not an end. It'll take us years to get to where we want to be. But I have to say that with all the information that has been basically shared over the past few weeks, our plan is real, our plan is working, our plan is being implemented, and it's proving to be effective. So with that, we are turning a corner. Again, looking at about a $300,000 to $500,000 surplus forecasted to year end. That is before our positive plan of reserve transfers was deemed as implemented by year end. We are maintaining services. We are developing a long-term debt strategy, which I'm going to share with you in a few moments. And again, no major tax shock. So this is an 8.28% tax increase, and it's real. That's all we implemented, and a 3% utility increase. Fair, and actually within the parameters what other municipalities within the region actually increase as well. And so I personally think this is a real success story for yourselves and for the residents of the town of Gibbons to have turned around something this quickly and effectively. I think is a real testament to the residents that have put up with basically the situation that they've had to for years, and for council and your leadership and direction. And so with that, I'm prepared to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Any questions? Council Morrison.
Not really a question, more of a thank you to Ryan for adding the budget to current month, so that not only can we do forecast to end year, but we can actually track to where we are now. Yep. So I can't tell you how excited I am to start to receive this level of detail. and to be able to track that against our debt. I understand that it all goes into reserves throughout the year, and then council will make that decision whether we want to start to pay down operating debt or whether we want to leave in reserve for capital repayment or just emergency fund. But I appreciate we can do what I like to call the simple Cape Breton math and go, look at that. $3.1 million by the end of this fiscal year, which will, where did he go? Which will, I was like, he's gone, yeah, which will bring the debt down to under 10 million. So, yeah, I think it's great, and thank you very, very much for the forecast to current month. It's awesome.
You're welcome.
Councillor Breck?
Just to clarify, so all of this information will be available to our citizens as well online, so that they can see everything, and it'll show pretty much exactly in detail what you've provided us tonight.
Through Mr. Mayor, all this information is in the agenda package, has been uploaded onto our website. And again, council's asked us to be very transparent. We're working actually at providing even more detail than this as well. So yes.
Has not to kind of blindside Des, but from an OA side, on what you've seen, how's everything looking?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sorry, Councillor Barak. How's everything looking? What do you mean?
What I mean by that is everything that the way it is stated, is it clear to yourselves and to municipal affairs and to the government? Is everything looking like it's on track, transparent, I guess clearly legible, I guess for layman's terms?
So I'm not going to comment on, what I think about the financial future, but I do think that you've been very transparent in the work that you've prepared and provided to your residents, and I think, they've wanted that, and I think you've responded to that. So I do think you've done a good job of that. Pardon me.
That leads me to a second question, I guess, or a concern. I want to make sure that we have this viability vote coming up starting tomorrow night and into Thursday. And I want to make sure that every citizen that is going to be voting has all the correct and accurate information. There's been some stuff floating around online by one resident, Chad Fontaine, has been saying that I guess that he said he's got an email from Minister Williams stating that as of May 7th, the town council is under investigation for fraud with municipal affairs. I was wondering if there's any way if you can clarify that to us, to my knowledge, and to, I guess, the rest of council. We have no information. I just want to make sure that the public isn't being misguided. If we are under investigation, by all means, but if we're not, I think we need to clear the air to Mr. Chad Fontaine as well as the rest of the public to ensure that in fact, I guess it is or it isn't.
Thank you. Apart from my official administrator appointment and the ministry's involvement with the viability review, I am not aware of any other ministerial investigation that's going on.
One more, I guess, accusation that I want to bring up that's being posted online by not only Chad Fontaine, but by a woman by the name of Penny Fidelic, if I'm not sure. She's made statements as well as Chad that there's that council and spouses are getting kickbacks from Bloom, and I think it's defamatory. I think it's slander, and I think that if people are going to make statements online, own them, show the proof, because I think those types of statements like that, when we're going into a viability vote, I think is uncalled for, and I think that stuff needs to stop.
Through Mr. Mayor, if I may, one of the things that we recognize when we become municipal professionals, CAOs, and I do education across the country for elected officials with my program as well. We always state that get a thick skin. You have to get used to basically criticism and people saying that you're wrong about things and whatnot. But there's also a line, and that line is when you start making statements that are completely untrue and can damage. That's different. So being criticized as opposed to just outright lies about fraud or things that you're doing is very different. And I will state this is that there will be strong legal action taken in this case.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Daryl. Councillor St. Germain?
Just to add to that, there's been some misinformation spread about your appointment because you are, Des, you are a municipal staff member. And it was stated that there was no proof, but that the minister has appointed you to spy on us. And yeah, I just wanted to know if you could, if any way you could clarify that that's not why you were appointed.
Thank you, Councillor St. Germain. I think the legislation is quite clear and the ministerial order appointment is pretty clear. I'm here to supervise council and the municipality. Other than my interactions with you here at council meetings, I don't see you outside of these council meetings. I do have conversations with administration regarding the financials, accounts payable runs, check runs, stuff I see in the agenda packages that I might have questions about, but other than that, I am, that's my role. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please? Councillor Simonowitz.
I move that council receive the 2026 management report, May 31st, 2026 as information.
All those in favor? So carried unanimous.
It's a great report. It's really well done.
Thank Ryan.
7 point.
The young one.
I wasn't giving you credit for it.
7.3 long-term reserve and debt management strategy.
Presentation, Chris, please. It's all in the same one. It's all in the same one. Just leave it up. There we go. Boom. Yep. There we go. So next, what I'm going to talk about is a long-term reserve and debt strategy. And so again, this follows basically the financial plan that we developed from a budget perspective, and embedded in every budget is usually plans and then plans along on top of other plans. And in our budget, Chris, can you, thank you. No problem. Okay, thanks. Within the budget, what we planned for was basically, again, a bit of a runway, which was the deferral of principal payments for a few years for our provincial debt, and to allow us to start building up basically reserve and financial capacity to make payments and put ourselves in a great position to be able to pay down debt aggressively at that time. And so we've developed 3 strategic pillars around our debt strategy that we want to share with yourselves and with the public. You're already aware of a few of these. We have 3 key things that we want to take care of. We want to take care of a very aggressive operating debt reduction. This is our number 1 priority. We want to take care of development debt repayments. This includes a strategy that we're currently employing, which is basically the collection of local improvements. So basically enforcing our local improvement bylaw, which has not been done properly for a number of years, and then looking at the debt repayment for utility and tax supported debt, which again is a very important consideration, but not our real problematic debt at this time. One of the things that I want to make sure that's very clear is we currently have $12.8 million of outstanding debt, but we have, according to the Municipal Government Act, again, the calculations, and I confirmed this again today, approximately $19 million of debt capacity. So what is a bit of a false statement is that we're at the maximum amount of our debt. We actually still have debt room. And so some of the things that has come up is, well, what would happen if we had a major infrastructure failure? We still have an opportunity to take out more debt if we had to. Not that we'd want to, but we still have that ability. And so I want to overcome some misinformation that has been out in the public realm. One of the key things from an operating debt reduction is annual operating surpluses applied to debt reduction. Now, one of the things that might be a bit surprising, again, because you're a new council, but also to the public, is that surpluses and the use of year-end surplus for municipalities is actually a very, very critical tool for long-term financial sustainability. Actually, when I worked at Strathcona County, we actually had a policy that identified that 50% of year-end surplus would be used for specific reserve building and for certain debt reduction. Part of it was operating debt, and so we're recommending the same thing for the town of Gibbons. So when we showed before that $300,000 to $500,000 operating surplus, we're going to be recommending at year-end that likely, if we realize that surplus at year-end, that we use that to help support our operating debt reduction. And again, as we look at, for example, maybe a 5-year period, that would make a very, very big dent in the operating debt that we currently have. This would result in reduced interest costs, improved flexibility and sustainability, and again, obviously a strengthened financial position. And so we do have a strategy for operating debt reduction. Development debt repayment is another aspect of debt that's very important. And again, when you're looking at debt, it's very important to note what type of debt it is. And so we have 3 key debt vehicles on our books right now. We have operating debt, which in my opinion is terrible debt. We never want to take out operating debt. And as you're aware, as in the management report, we are no longer using operating debt to cover off our budget deficits. And we have local improvement debt, which is basically development debt that we put infrastructure into the ground, and then you recoup local improvements or offsite levies to pay for that debt. And then there's tax supported and utility rate supported debt. And so what we've done in our strategies is we've compartmentalized basically the 3 types of debt and developed 3 different strategies. From the development debt repayment, this has taken us some time to review basically the Heartland Station and the Meadows development. And what we've deemed, and we've mentioned this before, is that we have now got legal opinions that our local improvement bylaws are actually valid and they have not been properly enforced over the past 5 or 6 years. And so what we are looking at now is aggressively pursuing basically the recoup of those local improvements and looking at an annual repayment of our local improvements on an annual basis. So basically enforcing our bylaws. And again, we have a strong opinion that this is very enforceable. So we're very confident in these funds coming into our basically bank account by the end of this year. But I will stress this, that the way that we developed our budget is that if we didn't get the money because maybe we end up in court, whatever it might be, we've also put in that those were to be transferred to reserves, which simply don't make that a reserve transfer. So there's no risk to the town if we don't receive these funds this year, but we are confident that we will receive these funds in an expedited manner over the coming months because, again, of our strategy. And so this will help with our growth-related debt repayment and reduce the burden on taxpayers. And so one of the key things is that the Heartland Meadows, the Heartland Station and the Meadows is a significant part, almost 40% of our total debt. And if our strategy proves to be successful, the taxpayers will no longer be paying this debt, and that's a significant change in our approach to debt management. So again, infrastructure sustainability is also something that's very important, and this is challenging because, again, we are in a challenging situation financially, but we are looking at reserve contributions, life cycle replacement planning. We're looking at reduced reliance on borrowing by developing and reestablishing our reserves, and this will turn into long-term capital sustainability. But I will say this, being somebody that's developed these types of strategies for many years, this one's going to take some time. And so this isn't going to happen overnight. We're looking at, as you're aware, we had a 3% increase to our utility, for example. We identified about 3% from a tax perspective out of the 8.28 for reserves. And so those transfers are going to be part of our long-term strategy on an ongoing basis. I'm going to be recommending those probably every year for the next 5 years. By including those increases, we will be able to build up our capacity again and put the town in a position to be able to manage its assets through reserves, which is the right way of doing things. But again, I have to stress this can take time and a lot of discipline of this municipality and council. So again, our reserve outlook is to again start to establish our reserve balances, and we're projected to grow these substantially over the coming years. We are looking at supporting future infrastructure replacement with this, and again, this will improve our financial sustainability. And again, I know these numbers are hard to read, but again, these are forecasts. And again, really important to state in year one, we are looking right now at the best case if we are successful in our local improvement strategy, putting about 3.8 million dollars back into reserve by the end of this year. And as you can see, we are looking at an annual strategy that would help support basically our reserve rebuilding over time. Below our reserve strategy is again, and what I've done is made the effort to again show council and our public basically 4 components of our debt that we currently have. The yellow is tax supported operating debt, and I'll be the first one to say this is really bad debt. This is debt that's been taken out over the past about 5 years through, I'll have to say it, through mismanagement, where we've been running operating deficits and then basically using our credit card to cover off those deficits, and we're no longer doing that. It's going to take us time to get out of this. And so our number one strategy is to aggressively use our surplus funds annually and recoup of some of the local improvements to pay down that $5.8 million is going to be our first point of strategy in order. The second one is basically our tax supported capital debt and our utility rate supported debt. One thing I want to make sure that's very clear is that aggressive buy down of this debt is difficult because once you take out debt with a province, you cannot buy it down early. So again, we do have a long-term strategy, but we will see, as you can see, some of those reserves are going to be built up over time. We will have hopefully surplus funds and then be using those reserves to make the debenture payments in 3 years once the debenture and the principal payments come back online. So we'll be in a position where there will be no tax shock in 3 years. We will be transferring our reserve transfers to debt payments. So again, we have a plan in place that will get us into a good position from a debt management perspective. The orange one, which is the local improvement debt, that $4.5 million that ties to the local improvement recoup that we're actually aggressively pursuing now from a legal perspective. And if you look at the top, you'll see the Heartland Station, $400,000. That local improvement revenue is projected to come in annually, and that is in accordance with our local improvement bylaw. So once we start and negotiate those funds coming in annually, that will be used to pay down the orange part of the debt. And so when you really look at this, if we use year-end surplus to pay off the tax supported operating debt, take care of our local improvement bylaws and start enforcing them, it really supports basically the taxpayers getting out from under basically the burden of paying off the debt in a significant manner from a tax impact perspective. And so with that, I just want to roll out that again, we have always had these plans, but I thought this would be a good time now that we have 5 months in, that we're now starting to see the fruits of our plans are starting to bear fruit, and we're starting to put money in the bank, and it's showing that we're actually not just managing our plan, but we're actually coming in under basically a 500,000 surplus. I thought it would be timely to show that our debt management plan is in place, and we're confident it's going to work. So with that, I'll answer any questions you have on our reserve and our debt management plan.
Where is, so the 2.5 million against the arena, where is that just bunched in here? Like,
Yeah, the arena mortgage, you can see there's $2.1 million, Councillor Curry, under the yellow outstanding operating debt. So that was, unfortunately, and again, I will say this, a bad approach to debt. I never would have recommended this myself, taking out an operating loan against our arena and taking out a mortgage, but it was before our time. But that is one of the advantage, I guess, of doing that is that we can pay it down aggressively. And so we're going to be recommending that any surpluses goes against those funds as fast as we can to pay them down, but it's there.
Is there anything that, like, if it was done unlawfully, against the rules, et cetera, is there anything we can do, like?
Through Mr. Mayor, there are some things I can't answer at this time, but I'm going to share this one thing again for the public. if there was any thought that we aren't pursuing basically a forensic review and consequences, that is incorrect. We have been very, very much working towards collecting evidence and data. We have found, I can share this, illegal bylaws, illegal deals, basically agreements that are basically against the Municipal Government Act. We are now basically evaporating those deals and pursuing all of the right basically avenues to collect the monies that's owed to us. So I can guarantee you that's all I can say at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Comments? Councillor Brack?
I just want to say thank you for providing these updates, because I think this does help alleviate or rectify some of the misconceptions that are out in the public of our financial situation and statements of how far behind and we don't have money for this or we don't have money for that. I think this type of information is what we need, and I think it's clear and decisive on how people can actually access this and read this. So I just want to say thank you, because I'm not an accountant, but this stuff, I can legibly understand it and see what it is.
Thank you, Councillor.
Any further? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please? Councillor Longstaff.
I move council receive the long-term reserve and debt management strategy report for information.
All those in favor? So carried, unanimous. And thank you, sir. That takes us down to 9.1, Assessment Review Board appointee. Chris, I believe this is yours.
That is correct, Your Honor. Good evening, Council. At the last council meeting, you'll recall that we made some appointments to the Assessment Review Board. And we do have 2 assessment review complaints that are coming forward to that panel. And as a result, one of my members did tell me that they had to recuse themselves. So the motion needs to come forward because council has to appoint the members to sit on that board. So we need a motion coming forward to remove Tina Grosco from the board and to appoint Richard Knowles.
Any questions? So just one, the member that's recusing herself, once it's all done, is she getting back on, or she's off?
No, she would be off the board. Council has to appoint all the board members. So once a member is appointed, they're appointed until council replaces them with someone else.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please? Council Morrison.
Oh my gosh, I went to the wrong one. Thank you, dear. I appreciate you. Council remove Tina Grosco from the Assessment Review Board and appoint Richard Knowles as a member to the Assessment Review Board. I'm going to start to call you Lightning Hands.
All those in favor? So carried, unanimous. Thank you. New business 10.1, Community Services Advisory Board Committee Appointment.
Okay, council, since the last council meeting when council passed TBE 1-26 for the Community Services Advisory Board, now included in that bylaw, it was an appointment by that a council member would sit on that board. So of course I know council is interested in moving forward with this board. So we're looking for an appointment this evening. However, given that the viability vote starts tomorrow, if council wishes to wait until the meeting in July, that's fine too. But it's just to move the process forward.
You guys, I take care of it tonight, get it done with. Yeah. Everybody in favor of that? Yeah, we're gonna move forward with it. So, do we have anybody that has interest in that board? Oh, sorry. Okay. Do you have you gonna make a motion to appoint someone?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Darren Longstaff as council representative of the Community Service Advisory Board as established under bylaw TBE 1-26.
I don't believe we need a second, no. Do you accept that nomination? I do. Do we have any others that may be interested in
I would like to be an alternate.
alternate? Does that board have an alternate, Chris? Yes?
Council certainly has the option. I don't recall in the bylaw that there would be an alternate appointed to that board. That's not to say that council still can't make that change. It's council's bylaw.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor that Councillor Longstaff be appointed to the committee. All those in favor?
Yes, you get to vote.
So carried unanimous, and sure, but we'd have to, believe we'd have to bring the bylaw back to amend it to put on an alternate.
If council so wishes, we can just, you can request that we bring an amendment back at the next council meeting in July. That includes an amendment to bylaw TBE 126, allowing for it to read council, a member of council or an alternate. Did you wish to direct administration to return with bylaw TBE 1-26 with the amendments as discussed?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I'll need that motion to be voted on, Your Honor.
All those in favor? So carried. 10.2, 7-month progress report, council priorities, actions, and outcomes. And he stepped out for a minute.
Yeah, he did. Did council want to take a recess then now?
Yeah, let's call a 10-minute recess at 2017. We'll come back at 2027.
mics are not on. Sorry, guys.
They would have heard us in their hearts. Sorry.
Missed all of that for the public. I apologize.
Okay, well, we're gonna hear you, my friend.
Okay, here it goes. Okay, to my fellow residents, I would like to apologize to all of you for this difficult position that you've been placed in and for the turmoil you've all gone through up until this point. It's not fair that you're being forced to make this difficult choice. It's not fair that we're all in a place to where we're having to pay not just financially, but mentally and emotionally for the wrongdoings of others. My team here and myself, we're not politicians. We're residents who put our names in the hat because we wanted to make this town right again. We wanted to work for you, and I assure you that we've done everything to date to the best of our ability and with your best interests in mind. This has been an extremely wild ride and not likely a normal council experience for us. I'm going to age myself here a bit, but I know I mentioned to a couple of the counselors that it feels like we're playing, Space Invaders or Tetris or something at like 10 times the speed, with everything kind of coming at you, and you're trying to catch things and you're trying to make the right decisions, and it's been difficult. And admittedly, it's been super tough at times, and there have been times I've, kind of wanted my old life back. But do I regret this? No. I've been asked by people in town if I regret this, and my answer is always no. Because I know that I did this for the right reasons. I know the rest of my team here did this for the right reasons, so there's no regrets whatsoever. And with this vote upon us now, I ask that you vote with your heart. Vote how you feel is best for you. It's your vote and nobody else's. I also ask that however the vote goes, we all get back to treating each other as neighbors and as friends. I believe it is that will continue to be the heartbeat of this community. And for me personally, no matter how the vote goes, I'll commit myself to being someone that you, the community, can count on and depend on. Thank you.
Thanks, Travis.
Still didn't use your pink piece of paper you gave me.
What's that?
Yeah, he's using
You
it.
still didn't use
He's
the pink
using it.
paper.
He's using it.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion, please? Councillor Longstaff.
I move council receive the 7-month progress report on council priorities, actions, and outcomes as information.
All those in favor? So carried unanimous. Bylaws and policies. 11.1, policy GA 86-26, privacy management program.
Good evening again, Council. When the province moved from the FOIP Act, the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, they separated that act into two, the Access to Information Act and the Protection of Privacy Act. Part of that mandate would be that municipalities would develop a privacy management program showing how we will steward the information that we get. So we are mandated to have this privacy management program. That is a policy, that is attached for council's review, stating how we would handle information coming in, where we would store that information, how we would handle breaches, how you can correct your information, and how you can submit a request for information. Does council have any questions on the policy?
I have none. It's a lengthy read and it's found it rather dry. Councillor St. Germain.
I just have a question about the training. So we'll all receive training on?
That's correct. The province did put out a couple of videos for privacy management, so I'll make sure council gets that to, and there's a quiz, and you have to do the quiz and then submit your your certificate to me once it's all said and done. But yes, you will receive that.
Any further questions or comments, input?
These all seem pretty standard.
Yeah, across the board, yeah, you betcha. Could I get a motion, please? Counselor Saint Germain.
I'll make the motion to, wait, I just lost it, sorry. We approve policy
J86-26.
okay, I was just making sure I was on the right. Policy GA8626 Privacy Management Program. As presented.
All those in favor? So carried unanimous. 11.2, bylaw PI 2-26 municipal of master rates bylaw.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the purpose of this request for decision is to complete all three readings of bylaw PI 2-26 for the purpose of updating the utility rates based on the budget approvals and to establish capital reserve transfers back into the utility budgeting. So as you can see, the master rates bylaw has been included and the changes have been made in red. So what we have done is we took the infrastructure that was infrastructure replacement and moved it up into the basic charges. And then we created that line now as a usage rider, which is the 3% increase that was approved in the budget. So my recommendation that council give first, second, and unanimous consent to proceed with third reading of bylaw PI 2-26.
So, just one question, the previous additions that were added to the utility bill that were, the citizens were informed were going into the reserves that in fact went into general coffers is now actually stated going into reserves.
So no, so it's going into operating. So now we've moved that into the basic charges, which will stay into the operating budget. But the 3%, that's the rider rate now,
Okay.
will go into the reserve.
All right, I see it here now. Good. Thank you for the clarification. Any questions, comments? Before, could I get a motion? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please? Councilor Longstaff.
Now let's try that. You want to do that with the mic on? I move council give first reading of bylaw PI 2-26.
All those in favor? So carried unanimous. Moving on to second reading. Again, I'll call for questions. Any questions or concerns, comments? Seeing none, could I get a motion, please? Councilor Longstaff.
I move council give second reading to bylaw PI 2-26.
Any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? So carried unanimous. I need a motion that we proceed to third reading, please.
I move that council moves to third reading of bylaw is it I or L?
Aye.
PI 2-26.
All those in favor of proceeding to third reading? So carried unanimous. And third and final motion, if there's no questions or concerns? Anybody needs answered or asked? Seeing none, could I get a motion, please? Counselor Saint Germain.
I'll make the motion that we proceed to third reading of bylaw PI 2-26.
We give, yeah, so now you've given third reading to it, right?
That's correct, Council. You've already made the motion to hold third, so now it's a motion to give third.
Yeah. Yeah, you
did. You were fine. I was the one that's missed.
okay. All those in favor? So carried unanimous. No staff reports this evening? Councillor Duhamel? Mr. Duhamel?
Councillor Duhamel.
Yeah.
That's way above my pay grade, sorry. Mr. Mayor, because of the importance of the last report and the fact that we now are in a situation of lacking transparency to the majority of our public who watch our meetings online, it's not unprecedented and could be something that we recommend is that we represent that report so that our public can be live streamed with the council achievements report. I want to leave that up to council if you would like us to represent, because again, the majority of the people who watch our council meetings are online. We could represent the report if you wish. So something for council to consideration because they missed the entire council achievement report. So something for your debate and discussion.
Yeah. Who wants to redo it? So that's the 7-month progress report. That one? Yeah. Okay. So we had some technical difficulties when we were doing new business, the 10.2, the 7-month progress report, council's priorities, actions, and outcomes. So we are going to briefly go over that again, and so you guys can actually hear us speak as well. Thank you.
Okay, through Mr. Mayor and Council, just for clarity for the people online, we had a technical challenge, and so this was not live streamed. And so, for the effort of transparency, which is very important to this council, we've decided to represent this report. Before I begin, I just want to state it was like, again, it feels like a short, but it's quite frankly a long 7 months of time between when we first met and where we are today. What I wanted to present today was basically kind of a summary of basically the last 7 months and some of the achievements that's been attained in this short amount of time. I will say, as somebody that's been doing this for quite a long time, I often make the joke that I'm only 30 years old. Look what this business did to my face. But all kidding aside, for somebody that's been doing this for a very long time, some of the things that you've achieved in 7 months sometimes takes municipalities, quite frankly, many years. You were faced with what at the very beginning I felt was myself an insurmountable challenge. I have no problem saying now, in the public, I wrote a report that basically said that I felt that this was probably an insurmountable challenge to overcome. That said, you at the very beginning talked about your priorities, and your number one priority was to develop a plan that could get the town of Gibbons and the residents of the town of Gibbons out of the mess that was left by your predecessors. So because of that, we took actions, and those actions have resulted in certain outcomes that have happened over the last 7 months. And so what I want to state is that there are a number of key focus areas that you've achieved a lot in: finance, improved governance, basically organizational restructures, and community accomplishments. And again, you were very clear at the very outset of our discussions that you wanted to see significantly better transparency, You wanted to see a much better approach to the way that we handle finance and business. You wanted us to do a significant amount of work in relationship to accountability and forensic review, which we have done. And you basically want us to unravel and get this town into a place of being in a good spot. And so I wanted to summarize some of the things that have happened over the last 7 months. Where we started, we were in a situation of basically depleted reserves. In fact, no reserve. And one of the things that's been stated, and there's been some questions about this, we found, though, a report from, again, the province stated that they thought, from a financial perspective, you're okay from a cash flow perspective. We found that after review, you were basically 4 weeks away from complete insolvency, meaning you would be in a position to not even pay salaries. We've been in that position up until basically the last 4 or 5 weeks, where we've actually collected taxes. And so the work that's been done has put us into a situation of being able to basically recover from the situation that you were placed in. We also had significant operating debts. Operating debt had been used to basically cover off operating deficits for a number of years. And so basically the town did not have a balanced budget. We uncovered numerous revenues that were not, in a sense, recoverable or realistic. And that resulted in basically balanced budgets, but unbalanced actuals. And so what was happening was operating debt was used to basically cover off ongoing surpluses that have been occurring for about 4 or 5 years. And so we had to overcome that. We overcame a structural operating deficit, and one of the biggest ones from your perspective was changes in governance. You were very clear that you wanted to be transparent with the public. You wanted us to be completely open about the situation. You wanted us to make sure that we developed basically vehicles to ensure that reporting was accurate and transparent, and we did that. And one of the things that you wanted, and you were very clear, is that you wanted us to be open and honest at all times with the public. Now, to overcome one thing, I think it's very important, is that we have done that. But there's one area that we've had to be a bit cryptic in, and that has been around the forensic review and the work that we're doing in that respect. I will say that we are conducting a review, and in the coming weeks, approximately 6 to 8 weeks, we'll be providing a report to council that will be very much action-based and will get us to a point of accountability and consequences. And so that's all I can say at this time. Okay, so that's, I think, an important note. Again, the key thing was overcoming financial sustainability challenges, but it was also, you were very clear that you wanted us to change the way that we were conducting business. So what we accomplished, we basically went into what we call enhanced public engagement. And one of the things that, I'll be honest, maybe a bit nervous at the beginning, is that you told us that you wanted an open house right away, that and one in which that we're completely transparent with the public about what the situation was. That was very difficult to stand up in front of well over 200 people that showed up that day and tell them that we are out of money, we're weeks away from insolvency, we're at the maximum of our debt, we've been running operating deficits for years, and we have not been basically enforcing our own bylaws in relationship to the collection of local improvements and development funds. That was not an easy night, I will say this, but at the same time, I think that we gained trust from the public, and we also gave them confidence that we were willing to take action. The key thing since then is that we had to make hard decisions, and so the easy part is telling people what the problem is. The hard part is developing real concrete solutions. And we've been subject to what I would call numerous forecasts lately from other bodies that, in my mind, are damaging, because they're not grounded in the reality. And what we presented earlier tonight was that the plan that we came up with is actually turning out to be real and is bearing fruit. And so you told us and gave us very clear direction that we were to balance the budget, that we were to be very transparent in the way that we did it, and that we were enabled to make very difficult decisions to basically get our budget back online. And that was hard for the staff, but on the most part, the staff have reacted very well, in my opinion, and with the organizational review and the way that we're delivering services in a very different and more efficient and controlled way, we're still delivering great services, but at the same time doing it at a rate that the public can actually afford. You asked us to develop reserve and debt strategies, which we reviewed tonight. You asked us to improve our transparency and reporting. We've made great efforts from that respect. I'm getting less emails in the middle of the night from Councillor Saint Germain about all of the reporting questions she asked me. So I like to think that we're kind of getting the information to you in a proactive way. So that's been good. But the key that you've stated to us, and we showed that tonight, is that you wanted us to be very completely transparent with the public and show things in a way that they could understand, not just data, but actual meaningful information. And again, we reorganized the staff in a different way to deliver services. And so in the long and the short of it is we had what I would call almost an insurmountable challenge, and you as council have done an amazing job in giving us direction, but also being willing to have the strength to, in a sense, protect us from some of the challenges that we have faced going through this. I will say this, it's been surprising to me to have been faced with a situation that you were as a council and been not only challenged with fixing the situation, but also challenged with what I would call false narratives and almost pre-designed outcomes that people wanted to happen, which was basically for us to fail. And I'm happy to say that we have disappointed those people by succeeding. And we're continuing to succeed. So what you have now, in my opinion, with the work that you've done, is a foundation for us to move towards success. That said, we still have a lot of work to do. This is not going to be something that we can get out overnight, but we've created a foundation that allows us to do that. And I think that's very important to understand. We've had public open houses and engagement. You've instructed me to write numerous press releases and public releases to the public. You've instructed us to change the way that we're reporting, and you've instructed us to have numerous open houses to just put ourselves out there to answer questions that the public asks. You also made it very clear that we do not want to stop people from making comments, whether they're positive or negative, and accept what people say and respect what people say, and we've done that. And I think that's very important to note for the public as well. We've enhanced our financial reporting. Again, we've provided greater access to both you as council and to the public. I think, and hopefully you would agree, that we've been very transparent in the work that we're doing. We provided as much detail as we can to you as council, and we've welcomed challenges to the information we've been providing, and so I think that's very different. And one thing, and again, I can only go into this so deeply, but to overcome any misconceptions, you advocated from day one that accountability, review, and consequences were important to you, and we have been working towards that, but we just can't talk about it legally, and so that's something I think it's very important for the public to understand. There will be outcomes coming from the work that we've been doing over the last number of months shortly. And again, so I promise you that the public will be aware of the work that you've instructed us to do from a forensic and review perspective. So again, our financial recovery results have resulted in, again, we overcame the structural deficit that was created from, again, your past administration and council. We've begun rebuilding reserves. We've begun overcoming, again, challenges from a debt perspective. As I mentioned tonight, we do have a debt management plan. It is false that we don't have plans to pay down our principal. Of course we do. We have plans to pay down our principal from an operating perspective. We have plans for recovering basically debts owed to us from the development community, and we have plans to take care of our tax reported debt as well without a significant tax bite in the coming years, and I think that's very important. So essentially we've created a long-term tax strategy, and we've done so very transparently. And so with that, looking ahead, we are going to continue to build up our reserves. We're going to continue to accelerate our debt payments. We are looking at maintaining service levels. Again, all the hard work essentially has been done. There's no more cuts that we're looking at. We're looking at now rebuilding. We're looking again at strengthening governance and accountability. One thing you've been very clear with us, and again, I want the public to hear this, in both the public and again behind closed doors when we've had strategic planning meetings, you've told me we do not want basically our business to be done in private. We want the public to hear about the things that we're doing as council, and we've respected that. And so whenever we've gone into closed sessions, it's because we're legally obligated to do so. And I think that's very important for the public to understand. We've been doing our business in the public realm. Again, we have a great strategic plan, and I have to say this. As a council, you haven't been able to have a lot of fun yet. And again, I mean, usually the first year, a lot of the first part of it is kind of, orientation. It's about talking about your vision. It's about talking about the good things and kind of, shining the diamond, as I often put it to councils that I work with. You haven't had an opportunity to do that at all. And so it's just been nothing but challenge, and we uncover more and more problems, and again we still do again, and again I have to give you a lot of credit for your perseverance and the challenges you've gone through as a council. It's been again a real pleasure for me. I've worked with some great councils over the time. I've worked with good councils, and I hate to say it, on occasion I've worked with bad councils over the last 30 years, and I have to say that you're up there as a great council. It's been a real pleasure to work with you. Probably yes, yeah. And again, this really comes down to advancing long-term sustainability. But I have to say this: the work isn't done. This is again and again, we have to be honest with the public. This is an ongoing battle. We are looking at again operations every day. We've set up systems to control our spending every day. This is going to be years of work to get out of this, but we set a foundation to get out of this. And I'd say this: that from a foundational perspective, you're actually in better shape than many municipalities across Alberta now, from a foundational perspective, to build yourselves up. And I think that has a lot to do with your leadership, and it's very appreciated. So again, just to kind of recap, I wrote this very long report with a lot of detail in it, but I just kind of want to capture kind of the main things: finance, transparency, better governance, better ways of doing business, connecting with your public, being strategic in our approach. Those are all things that you told me that were very important to you as we began this journey. And I think that you've been very successful in that, with a lot of headaches. We've had a lot of challenges getting through this. And I guess I'll just end it with this. Probably as somebody who does, primarily education, I don't really do this kind of work anymore. This has been, again, the last time I'll do this, by the way. You really bent my arm in coming and doing this again, which I now say thank you, because it's been very, very rewarding. But from an educational perspective, this is something that's going to be studied, and I'm going to be sharing the story. And probably the rewarding thing is that you've persevered as council and you've developed solutions. The thing that's been perplexing is that the narrative's kind of wanting you to fail, which has been surprising to me by many. And that's been hard to stomach for me and hard to understand. But at the same time, I'm very happy to say publicly that good on you for disappointing the negative ones, because you've developed something in my mind that is should be studied and looked at, because you've really achieved a lot in a very short amount of time. That's it. Still a long ways to go, but you should be applauded for the work that you've done. So with that, again, we put some information out from a council accomplishment perspective. I wanted to state that this information's been going out on our website and on Facebook, talking about our strategy from our tax perspective. But the point of many of the reports tonight was to prove that what's happening is, after 5 months of work, and again, and our forecast year end, is that our plan is proving to be accurate and proving to be real. We're actually achieving what we set out to do. And so with that, I want to answer any questions here and welcome any comments that you may have on what you've achieved. Thank you.
It's been a journey for sure. It's been, if you were to ask me, much like out of the chute was, were we viable? The first information that we had at hand, after the first or second meeting, that there was no way that we could do it, right? Put our heads down, did lots of work. The viability review, the administration, doing those workbooks, I'm sure that was not an easy task in a short amount of time to get done. And like I said earlier, perhaps it's a sign. There are flowers in the flower bed out front, so I take that as a sign. So, yeah, you betcha. Anyone else? Councillor St. Germain.
I'm not sure if mine was recorded. No. Okay. I just don't want to repeat myself. I just want to. What? Okay. I just want to say thank you to Bloom, our administration, our staff. It's been a rough road. There's been lots of ups and downs and uncertainties and changes. And I just really appreciate everybody sticking with us and having faith in us. And we have the faith in you that we can get there. There's been a lot of naysayers, and at times it felt like predetermined path that we should be on, and we're fighting hard, and we will continue to fight hard if that's what our residents choose for us. Thank you.
Councilor Brack.
I want to start off by saying, thank you to Bloom and the team, because they've helped us. We've laid out a plan and a strategy, and they've helped basically pave that path with us. Our town employees, by far, they've had to endure probably a lot more than what we realize. It's a little bit, they're kind of sitting in the shadows, but people don't realize the I guess pain and aggravation they've gone through as well. Our citizens have been fantastic. It's been a huge learning curve. We got in here, we kind of understood what some of the situations were, but until you actually get in and you start seeing exactly what we've accomplished in a very short amount of time, to be going from, in essence, insolvent, to righting the ship in a very quick and timely fashion is an understatement. The citizen or the community support that we've had has been absolutely tremendous and awesome. You get the odd little, naysayers in the background, but they're irrelevant in the big scheme of things, because the positive interactions that we're having with our community members, it's showing. Our community pride is huge, and that's you can see that just going down to Main Street or even talking to the community members or neighbors. We definitely have the support. I think it's important for people to realize that from where we started to where we are now, we've made huge strides in what should have taken years to accomplish. We've done in a very short time frame, 7 months, to look where we are. So, at the end of the day, we're 100% viable. The balanced budget shows a lot. And I think that the overall determination and grit of everyone behind it, I think that helps steamroll ahead. So at the end of the day, I just want to say, thank you to everyone who's been involved and supported all of us. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Daryl. Councilor Longstaff.
Remember what I said before. First of all, I'd like to thank Bloom team and all our administration staff and all of council for all the work that we've all pretty much been forced into. The amount of knowledge gathered in how long we've been doing this, 8 months? I didn't think we would get this far for at least 2 to 3 years in our term. So it's been pretty quick. One thing I would like to say on top of thank you for Tim and his company is, for those of you that are continuously bad-mouthing him and thinking he's doing fraudulent stuff, ask yourself one question. Do you really think somebody like him would put his company, that's nationally known and has clients across the country, on the line just to do fraudulent and corrupt things? I don't think so myself. Thank you, Tim.
Agree.
I guess I'll ask again, which one of us is your favorite? But since when the recording stopped and the public didn't catch that you said it was me. I have to say, this has what? This hasn't exactly been the council experience that I always dreamed of, but on the other hand, it's been rewarding to put in this much work and to see such positive results, and to hear such positive feedback from many residents. And I know recently, especially just with me putting it out there, just kind of the struggles and everything I've received, lots of positive messages on Facebook from people that just support me and say thank you and everything, and that means the world. So thank you. This has not been the easiest thing, and I can say, like, I have to give so much credit, not only to Tim and the Bloom team and to all the staff, but I mean, I have to give so much credit to my teammates here, not only because they deserve it, but because if things go wrong, you can blame them. Okay. What's that?
Who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite? Me, of course. But yeah, I just want to say like I'm happy to be a part of this team, and I hope that we get the chance to do some of the fun things that you know I have lots of ideas. I have lots of things like, you know, I wanted to come in here and do this and do that. And Robin Brown, I still want to get golf carts in town. But for now, you know, we've had to do a lot of the heavy lifting, a lot of hard work, and I hopefully there's brighter skies ahead, and I see that. So thank you all. The Travis, signing out.
Council Morrison?
All of us were elected on wanting to make sure that our community had a voice in this forum and at open houses. Those were voices that all of us felt we didn't have as citizens coming here. So we set the arcs of fire for Bloom and administration, that we wanted to have full transparency. We wanted to have open communication with our public, for them to have a voice. And so we set those guidelines, and Tim and the administration team actually achieved all of those achievements. You know, they set the plans in motion. They came to us with, you know, developing a plan based on our ideas, but you did the heavy lifting, and it is 100% appreciated, respected, and really at the end of the day, it was to make sure that our community had a voice and stopped being ignored by previous council.
Mr. Simonowitz, best to last.
I don't know if I'm last. Well, again, thanks to our residents for sticking with us. You know, the council has been great it's still great to be working with our town staff, and certainly the Bloom team. I believe in healthy debate, so I really appreciated our open houses and the activities that we did. You know, I mean, discourse, you know, differences of opinion aren't always great to hear, but I think you need that in the debate and the discussion. So again, thank you for all your work, and we'll see what happens. And you're not out of the woods yet, but I think we're getting there.
Excellent, thank you. Just confirming we don't need another motion. Okay. Committee reports. I'll start us off. I only had one since last council meeting, and that I had the honor to be the reviewing officer for the Sturgeon County Air Cadets on June the 13th. I myself, being a naval cadet way back in the day, brought back some memories. Great program. If anybody's got any younger generations that's looking for something to do, it's a great program to join. Councillor Simonowitz.
Thank you. I've been away for some of the time, but recently I've attended the Rose Ridge board meeting. That's our landfill group. And I think we'll be hearing from our administration down the line. Rose Ridge is quite interested in getting us to sign up with a new contract with the other communities for their services, and I think that's in the works. Just some bits of information about Rose Ridge. You know, the road to get there has a couple of rough spots, and it's gravel that's being fully paved. They're working on their composting activities. Come August, I'm trying to find a date here. August 22nd, Saturday, there will be a roundup. It's not a fall, not quite fall, recycle roundup. So, you know, people like Councillor Curry can bring all his half-empty cans of paint and turn them in. And anybody has got gasoline and all kinds of household chemicals, it's going to be right here in Gibbons, so we don't have to drive anywhere. I was interested to see on the community website or community page, somebody saying, Eureka, I discovered I can go to Rose Ridge and bring my stuff over there. I didn't know that, for a $10 ticket, $10 plus GST, I can bring 1,000 kilos there, which is like 2,200 pounds. Everybody's eligible for that. If you are renting in town, then see the owner of the house, and they will be able to get a pass to share with you. And the only other thing today, we had the Municipal Planning Commission dealt with some issues there. So that's it for me.
Thank you. Councillor Brack?
On June 20th at Pet Value, we did Paya Counselor for donations for the Bonaccord Gibbons Food Bank. And then today on the 23rd, an interview with Global News for the viability vote.
Councillor Curry?
Friday, June 19th, I had my Aero Utilities Board meeting. And I wasn't here for the last council meeting. So I'm going to report my Friday, June 5th. I had a blast, not only helping organize for the few months leading up to it, but I DJ'd the 80s themed family dance at the Cultural Center for the Youth Center and Gibbons School. I had a blast doing that. It was super fun. I even I had the mic. They made the mistake of giving me a microphone, so I did some rapping, I did some singing. Nobody said to stop, so they must have liked it. And we're already planning the next dance. Yeah, so that's it for me.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Morrison?
The 10th of June, the Municipal Affairs Viability Open House. The 16th of June, the Summer Municipal Leaders Conference, Caucus, but my bad. Webinar for the North Emerging Issues, as well as the second part of it, which was Housing 101 issues, and then the 23rd of June, Municipal Planning Commission Committee meeting.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Longstaff?
Okay, 10th of June, I also attended the Municipal Affairs Public Forum. I also did the AB Muni Summer Municipal Leaders Caucus webinar on the 16th of June. 18th of June, I went to the MFRC Donor and Supporter Appreciation Open House. They thanked everyone for their support over the last year and announced that their annual charity golf tournament is going to be held on Friday, September the 11th. Sold out already? Okay, never mind then. I guess it's already sold out. 20th of June, I also partook in the Pet Values Throw a Pie at Counselor fundraiser for the food bank. I believe they raised $337 for that. And the first pie I got thrown in my face was from a very young girl. She seemed a bit nervous, but yeah, after about the third smash in my face, she was doing pretty good. And last but not least, earlier this evening, I was part of the Municipal Planning Commission meeting.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor St. Germain?
June 10th, I attended the Municipal Affairs Viability Open House. June 13th, I got to be a lemonade judge for both Legal and Gibbons. So it was super fun. Lots of little entrepreneurs. June 17th, Community Futures AGM. June 17th, regular board meeting for Community Futures. June 17th, regular board meeting, Community Futures IRC. And then later in the evening, the Pride event by Gibbons Family Resource Center and many other community partners. June 20th, I was at the Paya Counselor fundraiser with my fellow counselors, Longstaff and Barak. My husband quite enjoyed smearing it all through my hair. June 23rd, I did a media interview with Councillor Barak with Global News.
Excellent, thank you. And that concludes just closed session as information. Can I get a motion, please? Counselor Saint Germain,
I'll make a motion to accept the community reports as information.
all those in favor? So carried unanimous. Can I get a motion to enter closed session, please? Counselor Longstaff,
I move that we move into closed session under section 19 of the Access to Information Act, disclosure harmful to the business interest of a third party, section 28, local public body confidences, section 29, advice from officials, and section 30, disclosure harmful to the economic or other interests of a public body.
all those in favor?
Chair, can I make one comment, give you some credit for service rendered? I just want to congratulate you guys for what you're doing. And my wife and I both supported all of you, and we're quite proud of what you're doing. And I know what it's like to have the tomahawks behind you. I had 30 years of it.
You betcha.
But,
That was just Bonnie.
pardon? And she couldn't run fast enough. But
Thanks for that kind word, sir.
but to me, I enjoyed most of the time I did 30 years on council, and I don't know, I didn't have the slugs that you've been stuck with.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Hey, Bill! Hey, Bill! Bill! Careful for my arthritic hands, eh?
Thank you, sir.
Hey, guys, keep it up.
Okay. So, all those in favor of closed session? I'm not sure if we did that already. Unanimous?
We,
Have your ask though, can we,
I move that we accept the information received in closed session as information received.
all those in favor? So carried unanimous. Okay, floor is yours.
Can we get a list of the, I meant to ask earlier, I apologize, a list of events that we're going to have to cancel? Community events that we've canceled. Yeah. Yeah, just so that we can have some kind of idea as to, you know, potential cost and that sort of thing, so that we can, that's super. Thanks.
My understanding that there's a want to support Pioneer Days, which were fine. And then my understanding is we've canceled a lot of events in Midwood, so we'll get the list for you. But it's my understanding too that if we remain in town, there might be some appetite to do something on parade or something like that. Maybe we could, it would take us a talk with Joey about today. Events don't just happen, so it'd probably be at least 6 weeks of planning. Plus we'll pull off in late August if we can something to event for the town. That would kind of bring things together, but we'll put this together.
Yeah, there's some sponsorship appetite, but it really at the end of the day, that's exactly it. We need to get through this week. And that's 100%. So, but also, you know, in that, with the mindset set of planning, it's to know, you know, what were the historic costs associated with those activities in their fashion, and then yeah, what we can do there post. That's appreciated.
Just so council is aware, that needs to be a motion.
To accept.
Yes, please make a motion, then I have it.
Council moves that administration produce a list of events that have been canceled and encompass the historic cost of those events for previous scale. Fair.
All those in favor? So carried unanimous. Councillor Saint Germain.
I just wanted to make a quick correction, Tim. You said if we remain in town, it's when.
Yeah. Nice call.
Seeing no more information, meeting adjourned at